Okay, great. Live again. So, this will be the fourth deck I am going through tonight. Let me take a drink. This will be the fourth Oracle deck as well. So, I said in previous videos, I have like a whole stack of new decks, Tarot and Oracle, probably close to a dozen that I've picked up in the last couple of months, and I've unwrapped some of them, but really haven't had a chance to play with them and get to know them well. And so I'm just sort of going through recording these. Some of them are really unique. I hadn't really seen them. They came up as like, hey, you might like this on Amazon, or I saw other people post. Yes, yeah, I love this deck too. Again, I was not traditionally an Oracle deck gal. I sort of have found my way to them on my path, and I really kind of like them as an adjunct to a standard tarot read. So what I find myself doing often is I will draw like 3 tarot cards for the day, ask a question, like problem, obstacle, solution, something along those lines, and then I'll draw an oracle card as sort of a like, what do I need to focus on? How might I be standing in my own way type of question. So this is Dark Mirror, and again, this is one of those decks that is designed more for that like self-exploration, self-mastery, shadow work. If you know me, you know I like that shit. I'm a Cancer. I like to get all up in my feelings, and I like to talk about feelings. I like to feel feelings. Like that's where I feel most at home. And so that's why I'm getting into some of these decks, because they do have such a nice feel. And I don't mean nice like friendly, not that they're unfriendly, but they have this like, like it gets into your bones. Love it. Oh, hi, fellow Cancer. Well, let's definitely chat about loving this shit. So basically, Dark Mirror is going to help us take a look at the parts of ourself that we're hiding, that we're refusing to see, that we are denying exist. And it's going to show us those parts of ourself back as we look through it. That's kind of the concept here that this is sort of talking about, and essentially walking into that darkness, embracing it, accepting it, and integrating it into ourselves. So again, it's not one of those like everything is love and light. It's like, hey, we all got fucking darkness, and if you are not facing your darkness, it's gonna eat you alive. So without further ado, let's kind of get into this. What I really like, I kind of glanced through the book beforehand, obviously, is this kind of gives you some suggestions for how to use this, and it says ways to read, obviously, like just drawing a card and looking at it. But one of the things that it really prompts you and encourages you to do is take a look at the questions that you don't like the answer to, right? So like we all have those questions that we ask, that we get a certain answer, and we'll just draw another card looking for a different answer, right? Because the answer we're getting is the answer we need, but it's not necessarily the answer we want, right? So this is one of those situations that you kind of have to like step back and go, okay, why do I keep looking for a different answer to this? Because I don't like the one I'm getting. And why don't I like the one I'm getting? Because it's very uncomfortable to me, because it's true. So again, that's the inner Cancer in me. Questions which force you to change. Nobody likes change. We all just kind of want to stay comfortable, right? Like change is uncomfortable to us, but it's necessary. Transformation is the only way we grow. I'm very much so one of those people that I see the Tower card, which I did my draw for the year for the next 12 months coming up. And I think it was like August was my Tower card, and then like September is my 8 of Swords. I see the Tower and I'm like, great. I'm going to get broken down, but I'm going to get broken down, and then that means I get to rebuild as something new. So something gets shaken up. There's destruction of some sort, but it allows you to make something better as you rebuild it. So that's change and transformation. questions that make you deal with pain and pressure. So again, we all instinctively try to avoid pain and pressure, right? It's our human instinct to get away from those things. So that's another thing to sort of look at in terms of how these cards work and questions to ask the cards. There's a really cool kind of like the way that it gives you information is it breaks it down into like a very short thing that you can take away from it. It also gives you, you know, this might be associated with which moon phase. There's a statement that summarizes the card, and then you can go into, you know, even more distinct and in-depth descriptions for each one of them. So, I want to say there's like 30 something, 32 cards. Yeah. So booklet's nice, gives you some pretty good descriptions. The art is really nice. It is evocative. It's definitely art that makes you think, makes you stop. Again, these are glossy cards. So they do shuffle well, they move well. They're pretty standard cardstock. I wouldn't say they're flimsy, but not overly thick. Like you could easily shuffle them and handle them. And I apologize, my little light's probably throwing a big glare off of these. So I'll just kind of briefly flip through these, hopefully without too much glare on them. And I want to say that the artist that did these is like a fairly well-known fantasy artist. Laura Sava is the name of the deck creator, and I don't know if she is also the illustrator. So I'll have to look into that. But definitely very reminiscent of fantasy art. I really like the images. Again, I totally get into those like really like, I don't know, images that make you stop and you go, whoa, I like those kind of decks. I don't really like traditional Rider-Waite. At least not the very kind of like cartoonish illustrative ones that you tend to find. I like the stuff that's a little rougher and more confrontational, that makes us have to face things, that makes us stop, and it's provocative and we have to think about it. But yeah, these are great. Man, I really like these. The art is fantastic. They're really well done. You could definitely read these intuitively also. So if you definitely read by feeling and kind of emotion and things like that, you could absolutely draw a card and just sort of fill it out and know what it's really about there. I would say so far this is a pretty emotional deck. I'm just sitting here looking at these going, oh, I can relate. So, I think there's one more. I think that's it. So that is it. This is a cool Oracle deck. Great feel to it. It's definitely a deck that's gonna like make you cry out your feelings. And so like if you don't like feeling feelings, then maybe it's not the deck for you, but it is absolutely something that I mean, I like the way that this works. So cool deck. I'm gonna do I think I probably have time for one more deck I picked up. So I'm gonna jump off and jump right back on. Thanks for joining me.